Dara, thank you very much for coming here.
Thanks for having me.
I've always been relieved ever since you were appointed, because at least until your appointment, I seem to have the most unpronounceable name. But now, so we will keep it as Dara and John. This conference is called The Year Ahead, but in your case, you are close to 6 months into the job. And I wondered what you saw in terms of the year ahead at Uber as your biggest challenge. What's the thing that you think about most when it comes to 2018?
We definitely have our share of challenges at Uber. And for me, where I want to get Uber to the year ahead is a year of normalcy. 2017 was, I think, will go down as one of the most difficult years for any company out there. And I have to give credit to the Uber team and the employees there. It is a group of true believers who believe in our mission, who believe in mobility as a service being available to consumers everywhere at a reasonable cost. And what my job in 2018 is to get rid of the distractions and get the company back to business, get the company back to normalcy. There's a lot that we've done in the past 6 months as far as bringing in new investors, driving a new culture and norms where doing the right thing, period, comes first, bringing in a new management team, et cetera. There's a lot that we've gotten done, but this is a company that knows how to execute. This is a service. Mobility as a service is something that's universal, that's needed in the world. And I just want to get back to doing business.
So let's talk about the company a little bit. I mean, everybody knows the company as a company that takes people from point A to point B through the use of an app, provides a service, but there are a lot of other things going on inside Uber.
Yeah.
We're hearing more and more about Uber Eats, which is growing quite quickly. But how does it all fit together?
Well, I think it's in general we want to be the largest transportation company in the transportation industry, and we are about getting people or things from point A to point B. And obviously we have a very big business in rides in the car business. And the way that I think about it is cars to us are what books was to Amazon. And just as Amazon went into other lines of business, we are going to go into other lines of business having to do with mobility and transportation. And Eats is an example of that. And the ability for us to scale Eats from what was essentially a zero business to a delivery business that's going to, we believe, be the largest delivery business in the world, ex-China, this year speaks to the power of the platform. Just as Amazon was able to enter other verticals, we think we can enter into other verticals in the transportation sector. And transportation is a $5 trillion plus industry, so there's plenty of space around. And if we get a tiny, tiny percentage, we're less than 1% of the transportation spend on a global basis, can we get to 10, can we get to 20, et cetera. The other angle, as again, I look at Amazon and as a great company to be inspired by, just like Amazon started in marketing just proprietary product, they then went into building a marketplace business.
Sure.
And I see us moving more into a transportation and mobility marketplace as well. And you see a very, very small sign of that here in San Francisco, where now you can rent electric bikes, they're called jump bikes in San Francisco, on the Uber app. So I see us, we certainly started with the car business. The rides business is still growing at very high rates. It's going to be global. We believe it will be profitable and showing good signs there. But I see us extending both in terms of the type of transportation that we offer and in terms of opening up our platform to third parties to become more and more relevant to consumers on a global basis. I think, listen, the biggest surprise for me was actually a pleasant surprise, which is the external view of Uber and its actions as a company, et cetera, was appropriately negative. I'll say appropriately negative. And when I went to the company and met the people there, these are true believers in our making mobility available to everyone, everywhere, in an affordable place. They are believers in in mobility being empowering riders all over the world. They are believers in helping our drivers and building a better service for drivers. They are true believers in the power of Uber to do good for the world. And that has been an enormously positive surprise for me. And they are desperate for their good work to get the headlines versus some of the missteps that we've had in the past. And you know, I think we're starting to move down that path.
5 years, 2023, your vision, talk about what does the company look like? What does the business look like 5 years forward? You know, there's you're investing in a lot of things. There are a lot of things that are going to happen. You know, the trajectory and the curve on a lot of these things is going to take a long time. There's going to be lots of hybrid. There's going to be lots of evolution. But let's put it into something that's more practical, which is in a 5-year period, what does this all look like? And kind of in your vision, where do you want the company to be and what do you want the company to look like 5 years from now?
I have a hard time predicting what the company is going to be a week from now, so I haven't gone to the 5-year
But you've got to have some vision or sense.
You know, what excites me a lot about where we're going to be 5 years is opening up our platform. You know, it's Uber is now about taking a car, and I want Uber to be about getting from point A to B, whatever the best way from getting point A to B. I want to run the bus systems for a city. You know, think about bus routing, et cetera. I want you to be able to take an Uber and get into the subway if, you know, the trains are running on time and you've got real-time data. Get in the subway, get out, have an Uber waiting for you right now, or know that there's a bike right there for you, and get to where you're going in the fastest manner in the way that makes the sense for you with zero friction.
Yeah.
You talk about execution. Is profits one of the things you want to get? I think you lost $4 billion last year.
Well, profits,
peanuts by the standards of
profits would help. Yes. So at some point we absolutely have to become profitable, and that's part of the plan.
But do you have a kind of goal for that? Do you think you should be profitable by 2022 or by 2020?
I think that we'll be profitable before 2022. This is the business itself.
Do you want to come back a bit closer, 2020?
Yeah, listen, it's not going to, I don't want to name a specific year, but this is a business that the core business, the ride-sharing business, can be profitable within 3 years. We will continue to make very aggressive investments in building out autonomy because we think that's a terrific opportunity for building out new technologies such as Uber Elevate, where near-term profitability is not a goal, but long-term growth is. So we will look to balance near-term profitability, but as a company, we will always be a company that makes big, bold bets and takes big risks.
To what extent, though, do you think that drive to become profitable fights against a little bit of this culture change? If you want to make, you talked about making money, but not at all costs. Do those two things?
Well, I don't think that profitability and culture are their issue. The company in the past was willing to make trade-offs as it related to how it did business, and I think was guilty of hubris, was guilty of thinking that they knew better than others, and I think that what we know now clearly is that breakneck growth can hide cultural issues, that there are no excuses for not doing the right thing, and that you do have to make trade-offs. And as a management team, we're specifically talking about those trade-offs that you have to make. We have to be a little more patient sometimes because working with governments, regulators, et cetera, sometimes takes longer, but in the end, you build a more lasting business. And so maybe what we went through was necessary, but we're here. We can control our actions from this moment onwards, and I think everyone at Uber from this moment onwards wants to build a great company, not only in terms of growth, but in terms of the kind of company anyone would want to work at.
So tell me, is this your first visit to India?
This is my first visit to India, and it's great to be here.
How come you were the CEO of Expedia and you never came down here?
You know, I actually tried to get a visa, and they wouldn't get me one. I have no idea why, but I think you pulled some strings for us, so I finally got a visa and I got over here. So thank you for that.
I mean, you're far better than Travis. You landed up with a visa.
I heard about that story. By the way, I checked around 5 times to make sure I had the visa and the date was right. So
Uh, so, I was wondering, this name Khosrowshahi. It really amazed me. It's a very fascinating name. Khusro means king and Shahi means king, so it really means king of kings. In India, we say Shahenshah ka Shahenshah. Okay, Shahenshah. You know, so you're one of the most distinguished immigrants to the American society. What's your view on Trump's immigration policy?
well, I think that the immigration really made the United States what it is now as a leading nation at the globe. The United States is an immigrant nation at its core, and there are the self-selecting brave souls who want to cross oceans in order to displace themselves after opportunity, after the American dream. And I always tell folks that the American dream is the greatest brand in the world. It's like Google and Apple and Uber times 100, that everybody in the world understands what the American dream means. It means if you come to America and you work hard and you respect the rule of law and you respect democracy, you can make it. And that American dream, I think, attracts the best and the brightest, and it's the best and the brightest who create the next generation of innovation, et cetera. I was incredibly lucky to get to America during a period when immigrants were welcome. And if you look at the S&P 500, the CEOs of the S&P 500, 50% of them either are immigrants or had parents that were immigrants. If you look at Indians who are leaders in the U.S. tech field, Satya Nadella, Sundar at Google, these are incredibly distinguished immigrants. So I thank you for putting me in similar company, but I think it's a short-sighted view, and it's a bit of a reactionary view that our president has taken. I'm hoping that over time, our country returns to its roots, that is to welcome folks who want to come, welcome folks who want to work hard, and hopefully have a population that understands that if with education and hard work, they can succeed like anyone else within the states. That's the core of the country. That's something that's very, very dear to me. I am incredibly lucky to have been a part of it, and I'll do everything I can for that to be the future of America.